All right, so if you've ever spent time managing files on the command line, you probably have your favorite go-to commands, right? But what if I told you there's a modern workflow out there that's not just faster, but actually a whole lot smarter and safer? Well, today we're going to take your file management skills from, just getting by to a true expert level.
Okay, picture this. It's the alert that can absolutely ruin your day, especially if it's on a production server. Disk full. Yeah, this isn't a drill, right? This is a high-stakes problem, and it needs a fix, like right now. So, what do? What's your very first move?
For a lot of us, muscle memory just takes over. We immediately start typing something that looks a whole lot like this. It's the classic, right? The time-tested command for hunting down whatever's eating up all your disk space. And look, it's a great starting point, but it's got some pretty serious drawbacks hidden inside. So, let's just quickly break this down. First, you've got du, which scans the disk usage. Then, that little pipe symbol, it just shovels all that output directly into the next command, sort, which, you guessed it, puts the biggest stuff right at the top. It's a pretty elegant little one-liner, but it's hiding a really critical inefficiency that we have got to talk about.
The slow, classic workflow. Yeah, why is the old way so inefficient? See, this classic method, it forces you into what I like to call the iterative drill down. You run the command, you find the biggest directory, you cd into it, and then you run the exact same command all over again. And then again. Sure, it works eventually, but it has one massive hidden flaw.
And here it is. This is the core problem. Every single time you run that command, do has to rescan everything in that directory completely from scratch. Just think about all that wasted I/O and, more importantly, all of your wasted time. This repetitive manual work is exactly, and I mean exactly, what modern tools are designed to get rid of.
Okay, phase 1, instant analysis. We're going from slow scans to interactive speed. So how do we escape that painful, repetitive scanning loop? Well, that brings us to phase 1 of the expert workflow, getting a super fast, interactive, system-wide view, all in one single shot.
And this really shows the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got the old du and sort method, slow, manual, step by step. But on the other side, a modern tool like GDU. This thing is a beast. It scans the disk once, and it uses all your CPU cores in parallel, especially on modern SSDs. And then, bam, it drops you right into this interactive interface where you can navigate, sort, and even delete files right then and there. It's a total game changer.
So, which one should you actually use? There are a few options here. NCDU is a great, well-known classic. But honestly, for emergencies, GDU is the clear winner, just because of its raw parallel speed. Now, if you're doing scheduled monitoring, something like Duck is amazing because it builds an index for instant queries. But for our "oh no, the disk is full" scenario, yeah, GDU is absolutely king.
All right, let's move on to phase 2, surgical discovery. Now we're finding the exact files we need. So let's say GDU just showed us that our varlog directory is a 50 gigabyte monster. Okay, great. Now what? We need to find these specific files inside that we can actually get rid of. This is where we get surgical.
So, what's the right tool for this job? Well, it really depends on what you're doing. For a sysadmin, the classic find command is just indispensable. It has these incredibly powerful filters for searching by time, permissions, user, you name it. It's essential for writing cleanup scripts, but if you're a developer, you have to check out FD. It's an absolute game changer. It's super fast, the syntax is way simpler, and it automatically ignores things like your .git directory and respects your .gitignore. It just works.
Now, to really unlock the power of a tool like Find, you have got to understand these 3 file timestamps. It's super important. You have mtime, or modified time, which is the last time the file's actual content was changed. Then there's atime, access time, for the last time the file was simply read. And finally, ctime, or change time, which tracks changes to the file's metadata, things like permissions or owner. Once you get these, you can do incredibly precise searches.
So let's look at a really powerful, practical example. This command here tells Find to do a few things. First, look inside the /logs directory. Then, find any file whose name ends in .log. And here's the magic part. Only show me the ones that haven't been modified in more than 30 days. See how useful that is? This is the perfect command to stick in an automated script to clean up all those old, stale logs that are just eating up space. Okay, phase 3, smart archiving and moving. This is all about packaging, compressing, and transferring files safely. So, we've analyzed the disk with GDU, we've found our target files with find, now it's time for the final phase, taking action. This is where we package, compress, and move those files, and we're going to do it safely and efficiently.
I want you to really let this next point sink in. Using CP-R for backups is just plain wrong, and honestly, it can be catastrophic. I know, we've all done it, right? We've all used CP-R to copy a directory. But for any kind of serious work, especially backups, it is absolutely the wrong tool, and it can lead to disaster. So why is that?
Well, it's because CP-R destroys metadata. That's why the expert rule is simple. Always use CP-A. That little A is the archive flag, and you can think of it like a super flag. It tells CP to make a perfect, faithful copy, preserving all that critical metadata we talked about. Permissions, ownership, the original timestamps, even symbolic links. It's the only right way to do it.
Okay, let's talk compression. When we use tar to package up files, we used to face this classic trade-off. Do you want speed? Use gzip. Do you want really good compression? Well, then you have to use XZ, but it's super slow. But now there's Z standard, or ZST, and this thing completely shatters that old trade-off. It is often faster than gzip while getting a compression ratio that's almost as good as XZ. I mean, come on, there's a reason it's the new default for just about everything.
Now, what about moving files between servers? For this, rsync isn't just better than SCP, it's vastly superior. And it's all because of one key feature. Its delta transfer algorithm. That's a fancy way of saying that the second time you run a sync, it only sends the bits that have actually changed. It doesn't copy the whole file all over again. Plus, it can resume failed transfers, which, if you've ever had a large SCP fail at 99%, you know is a lifesaver. It's just way more efficient and way more reliable.
So, what's the command you need to remember? Honestly, 99% of the time, it's just this. rsync avzp. Let's break that down real quick. The A is that same awesome archive flag we saw with CP. V is for verbose, so you can see what's happening. Z adds compression on the fly, and P is amazing. It gives you a progress bar and the ability to resume. It's the whole shebang, the complete package. Just memorize this one.
The modern toolkit summarized. All right, these are the best tools for the job. We've gone through analysis, discovery, and action. So now, let's pull it all together into one final consolidated toolkit. These are the best modern tools for each specific job.
Okay, here it is, your modern command line toolkit. Think of this as your new cheat sheet. For interactive analysis, you're going to use GDU. For archiving and compression, it's tar with the -ZSD flag. For safe local copies, it has to be CP-A. For reliable remote syncs, rsync-avzp is your absolute workhorse. For automated deletion, the safest bet is using find with its built-in -delete action. And finally, for just finding files, pick the right tool for the job. Find for complex sysadmin stuff, and the super fast FD for your development work. So there you have it. You now have the Modern Experts Toolkit. And remember, these aren't just commands. They are actual solutions to real-world problems. They're designed to save you a ton of time and, honestly, prevent some major disasters. So the only question left is, what's the first tedious, annoying task that you're going to automate with these new powers? The keyboard is yours.